Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, you know what today is? Today is Sunday, so we're doing Sunday in Psalms. This is the 8th episode, so we are in Psalm 8. I like this particular song. I like a lot of the Psalms here, but this one, if you are familiar with it, it starts out, Lord, O Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. If you're familiar with Keith Green made a song out of this particular psalm. And it's a popular song that is still sung today. Not in every church, but it's still sung today. So it's a great psalm here. And it's today the lesson is entitled, How Can You Bother with a Mere Puny Man? And okay, this is David talking to God. How can you bother with a mere puny man? All right, and so let's read. We're going to be reading Psalm 8 today. I'm going to read it in the NIV first, but then I also want to read it from the Living Bible. In my software, I have the Logos software. I have like a bunch of different translations, and I'll start with usually the NIV, and then I'll go and look at the other translations. And when I looked at the Living, I'm like, wow, that really says it in a clearer way. So I'm going to read that too. And of course, I have my parallel Bible here with the Living and the King James right beside it. All right, so Psalm 8. Let's read it here. It says, Lord, O Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory in the heavens. Through the praise of children and infants, you have established a stronghold against your enemies, to silence your foes and the avenger. When I consider your heavens and the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. You have made them a little lower than the angels, and crowned them with glory and honor. You've made them rulers over all the works of your hands, and you put everything under their feet. All the flocks and the herds and the animals of the wild and the birds in the sky and the fish of the sea, all that swim in the paths of the sea. Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Okay. Notice the first verse and the ninth verse, which is the last verse, is the same. It starts out that way, ends the same way. Okay. Let me read from the Living Bible, Psalm 8. And pay attention here because it's a little bit clearer when it talks about it here. It's a paraphrase. It's not an exact translation, but it's a paraphrase here. O Lord, our God, the majestic and glory your name fills the earth and overflows the heavens. You have taught that little children to praise you perfectly. May their example shame and silence your enemies. When I look up into the night skies and see the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars you have made, I cannot understand how you can bother with a mere puny man to pay attention to him. And yet you have made him only a little lower than the angels, and placed a crown of glory and honor upon his head. You have put him in charge of everything you made, and everything is put under his authority, all sheep and oxen and wild animals too, and the birds and the fish and all the life of the sea. O Jehovah, our Lord, the majesty and glory of your name fills the earth. Okay. So, what David is saying here, he's going through this, and when he talks about like how great God is, in verse 3, when it says, when I consider your heavens and the work of your fingers, and the moon and the stars which you have set into place. The moon and the stars, we can't even think of making something like that. But he's saying, you put all those things into place. But look at this next verse here. In the NIV, it says, what is mankind that you are mindful of them? Human beings that you care for them. He's like saying, you did all this great stuff, and then there's this puny man. In the Living Bible, it says, I cannot understand how you can bother with a mere puny man to pay attention to him. Man, compared to everything else, is puny, okay? And David is saying here, how can we care for man, and he's so puny compared to everything else? But he doesn't stop there. He continues on. I'm going to go back to the Living here. And he says, and yet you have made him a little lower than the angels. So you've placed him pretty high up, okay? And placed a crown of glory and honor on his head. God's honoring mankind. And verse 6, you have put him in charge of everything you made. Okay, and that goes all the way back to creation when he tells Adam, hey, you're in charge of this stuff, in charge of naming the animals, but then, we're over creation in those things. God made us to be Lord over the creation. Okay, so a cow doesn't come along and rule me. No, I rule the cow because I can control the cow. The cow can't control me. All right. So all that stuff. You have God has created, the sun, the moon, and the stars, way greater than me. But he still elevated me up, the puny man, and made me in charge of a lot of creation, over all that creation. So it's an awesome thing to see this. And again, the title, how can you bother with a mere puny man? How can you bother with a pure puny man? Because when you read through the Gospels, then you understand it's because he loves us and has a plan for us. All right. Thank you for watching. I'm a regular dude walking in the Word. And I look forward to seeing you either this week or next Sunday as we continue our journey through Psalms. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then.